Hi, my name's Joss, and I'd like to guide you through filter design with Dirac Live Active Room Treatment. With ART, we've cracked one of the hardest problems in audio reproduction: controlling bass resonance, room reverberation, and seat-to-seat consistency without excessive physical acoustic treatment. In this walkthrough, I'll give you a quick overview of filter design, along with a few tips and tricks to help you get the most out of ART. The great news is if you've previously done measurements for room correction or bass control, then you can just use those with active room treatment too. 9 positions is a minimum, but you may need more measurements to cover a larger space. If you've not measured yet, please see the links below for a guide on getting the best measurements. In this video, we're only going to focus on filter design. So let's open up some measurements we've done before. First, let's take a look around. At the top right, we have the product selection. If ART isn't available here, you may need to update device firmware, or you may not have a license. Follow the link in the description to purchase the license for your device. If ART is selectable, then we can proceed. Below that, we can see groups. Now, your speakers will typically be organized into symmetrical groups to help manage all the channels, but you can drag speakers in and out of groups to your preference. All speakers in a group will have their own individual processing, but will aim to reach the group's target curve. In the center, we have our graph. Here you can see all sorts of useful information based on what you've selected in the key. Let's start by selecting the measured spectrum, which is the average of all the measurements taken for each speaker. And then we can select the target curve. We can also view a prediction of what the corrected spectrum will be once it's calculated. We'll look at the other options later in this video. The target curve is the desired sound we want to achieve, and we can edit it for each group simply by controlling how much bass or treble we would like. Or by switching to control points, we can create a custom target curve. Target curves can be saved and imported for convenience. These controls may be familiar to anyone that's used room correction before, but now with ART, there are a few additional controls we should be aware of. Now, if this sounds a little daunting, don't worry. The default parameters should be a reasonable starting point. Simply hit calculate and proceed to filter export. It's worth noting that the nature of co-optimizing a system with ART does ask a little more of your speakers. So be aware that when playing at higher volumes, you may reach your system's limit a little earlier. But if you want to dive deeper and further optimize the results, then stay with me. The ellipsis menu on the groups opens more advanced settings for each group. Here we can edit the support level, F-support high and low, and select which groups you'd want support from. These can also be managed right here on the graph. First, let's talk about how to manage groups and support with ART. Each group can both support and receive support from other groups to optimize channel performance. We call this relationship cross terms. This can be selected for each group, either here or here. Some devices may have a limit for how many cross terms are available, and that can be viewed at the bottom right. In this instance, I have chosen not to have the center speaker group support any others, but I still have the other groups support the center. But it's best to listen and make judgment on whether such optimizations are beneficial for your system. You may also choose to separate subs into separate groups if their performance varies, to allow for different support settings. Note that when separating subs into different groups, the target curve will only exist for the main LFE channel, and the supporting subs will conform to that target if selected to support. With ART, we can rethink bass management. If speakers are capable of playing bass frequencies under 150 Hz, then it can be beneficial to allow them to overlap with subwoofers to maximize the effect of co-optimization. Support range can be edited on the graph or menu, and will dictate the operating range of the support. A good starting point is to match the F-support low to the measured in-room speaker response, or the speaker manufacturer's stated -3 dB bass roll-off, whichever is highest. F-support high typically needs less attention, and can be left to allow ART to optimize as much as possible. But reducing it could be beneficial in cases where a listener is sat in close proximity to a support speaker and can hear the support effect. To enable sub 20 Hz infrabass, The infra checkbox will allow capable subwoofers to pass through an unfiltered signal below 20 Hz. Support level dictates how heavily each speaker is used. Lower values like -24 offer stronger support and will work harder to achieve the target. This is typically realized by narrower filters and more relative filter gain. Higher values like -1 dB offer lighter support with smoother filters and less relative filter gain. It's worth remembering that the support level parameter can be thought of as an input into a filter calculation, not a direct correlation to the volume of that support speaker. Now, if a speaker sounds strained, raise its support level towards -1, or narrow its support range. To view the effects of parameter adjustments, click Calculate. This may take some time as the algorithm is quite complex, but once calculated, you're able to see the predicted performance of ART. Check this against the measured performance and you should see improvement. One of the strengths of ART is significantly improving the consistency of sound in your space. A great way to visualize this is by looking at spread. This represents the strongest and weakest measured response in the spectrum. And when fine-tuning ART, you can easily view the impact of adjustments here. Of course, when making adjustments in any calibration, it's important to listen to the result. After filter calculation, you can proceed to filter export to transfer the filter to your device. If you feel further adjustments can be made, then jump back to the filter design page to calculate and export a new filter. It's worth noting that ART relies on the relationships between each speaker and the room itself. If any adjustments are made to the system downstream of Dirac, such as adjusting delay, gain, or physically moving speakers, then these relationships will change and invalidate the ART filters. If adjustments are made to the system or room, then remeasuring would ensure the best results for ART. So there you have it. Your speakers are working as one unified acoustic system. For more info, follow the links below and stay tuned for more videos soon. Thank you.